once again, whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, or whenever you're watching, to our daily Limbus Company ID study and book reading. Today, I decided to punish myself, and we are going to be studying the Lobotomy Corporation Remnant Faust. And it's going to be a solo run with a double OID, so brace yourselves. We are also going to be reading, continue our reading of The Stranger by Albert Camus. So that also look forward to that as well. And this time I will not be drunk because I was watching the stream yesterday and I thought I was learning a lot of my speech. And considering how I want to use the footage of the book reading to make some videos, I should probably, behave myself a little bit more. Hello there, old pet meme. You ever heard of AI called Neurosemi? It's pretty cool. Yeah, I've heard of it a long time ago. The very cool actual AI. The guy's trying to get work, and it's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. In any case, let us begin. So this is a season 1 ID, so don't expect anything fantastic out of her. She doesn't have like a super duper extra powerful kit or anything. She's not like a hidden gem of the season 1 IDs or anything like that. There is another ID from the season 1 that I also have to do a solo run, which is going to be Mariachi Sinclair, because I am following this here. I'm trying to get the early IDs out of the way first. If you go by recent here, you see I got the the IDs in order, and if they're level 60, it means I already did a run with them. So the next one that was really left was the Lobotomy Corporation Remnant. So that's what we're gonna do today. Next one is gonna probably Los Mariachis Happy Sinclair, and then from there on probably Rose Spanner, then the League of Technological Liberation Alliance. Already did K-Corp Honglu, already did R-Corp Molar, we already did Zwei, Sync, and etc. etc. So then there was going to be the Twin Hook Pirates. But anyway, let's begin analyzing our ID. I do apologize for the singing on the background, for I shared this room with someone else. So you don't watch my streams for quality, don't even pretend otherwise. In any case, Lobotomy Corporation Remnant Faust, standing at 212 HP, 3 to 6 speed, 56 defense level, resistant against slash, but fatal against blunt. She possesses the sin of lust, gloom, envy, and a envy evade. For the context of a solo run, having an evade is very good. Envy, evade. All right. All of her damage types, she has 2 slash skills and a pierce skill. Something I haven't been paying attention to is that the damage types. Limbab, your string is showing. What do you mean my string is showing? Would you like to elaborate on that? Is anything behind me? In any case, sorry. Weak to blunt, resistant against slash. Very good, very nice. Let's check out her passive, which, again, by a Season 1 ID, is something very simple. It is a Lust Resonance of 2 that at the start of the turn, if at 4 points count, she gains 2 haste. So she gets faster. Not even gonna write that down, it's a bit of a nothing effect, but let's keep going. Skill 1, Soul Strike is a 11 roller with a 63 offense level, single attack weight, and single coin. On use, she gains 2 poise count, and inflicts 2 rupture. So we are a poise rupture unit. Poise rupture unit. It has no escalation, so it is going to struggle a little bit, as we have seen all other IDs, modern IDs, they tend to escalate from 11 to 13 and to 15. So she is just the base power here, nothing else to help her. Very likely that we're gonna get take the grace of the stars, give Clash power up so that she can actually keep up. Q2 Deep Cuts. It's a Gloom Pierce with 63 offense level, 3 coins with a coin power of 3 and 5 base power. 3 coins of 3 power makes it a 9, and then with the 5 it becomes a 14 roller, which is below average for our compared to our modern IDs. But then again, Season 1. It gives a lot of poise and it gains a lot of haste. 4 haste, that's pretty damn nice. For her skill 3, Opportunistic Slash is a 2 coin with 8 coin power, 4 base power, 63 offense level, attack weight of 1, and a condition that if the user took no damage last turn, she gains plus 3 coin power, and it inflicts some rupture. nothing really to say here. She has no rupture count application, just has rupture for dealing more damage. She has poise. She has poise count on her skill 1, and that's it. And on the skill 2, she gains normal poise, which is, you know, our critical chance, while poise count is how many times we can crit. And the skill 3 really doesn't have anything going for it except this. Now, this is very good. Assuming we don't take damage, which is kind of difficult when a solo run, that turns that 488, making the skills already a 20 roller, all heads. Giving +3 coin power makes this a 11, so it becomes a 26 roller, which is pretty nice considering that it is the season 1 ID. And finally, her defense. Her defense is a 3 base power with 10 on a single coin with a 60 defense level higher than her base. So using her evade here actually makes her a little bit tankier. But 13 roller, it's quite good. It is, you know, depends on the coin power here, as we have seen before, but not bad at all for a double ID. But we'll have to see that on the hell. Damn it, I need to change this configuration on my phone sometimes. Anyway, let's see what egos we're going to be taking for her. So we generate Lust, Gloom, and Envy, and we use Poison Rupture. It is a card of Sloth, Gloom, and Pride. We can take it because it's a poise, and we're going to be using poise. This one gives us a lot of poise, if I recall correctly. So next turn start of using this ego skill, gain 1 Nebulizer Alpha. This affects creature throughout the encounter. Combat start, all allies including this unit apply 1 point, puts 1 poise count. Combat start, gain 1 Nebulizer Alpha. Every time this unit applies 10 points count to allies that have Nebulizer Alpha effect. Turn end, starting from allies with the lowest HP percentage, heal Nebulizer stack percentage HP for highest resonance allies max of 6. If this unit receiving healing has 20 points potency, activate the healing 1 more. So we got a nice little healing here. Unfortunately, we cannot generate the sim, so we can't really spam this. We need something that only consumes Lust, Gloom, and Envy. Let's see. Wrath. Sloth, Gluttony, we don't generate. This one is Lust. Fluid Sac is Lust, Gloom, and Envy. We can use Fluid Sac. We can spam Fluid Sac, actually. She generates all the resources for it. I can double check. 2 Lust, 4 Gloom, and 3 Envy. Or Gloom is a skill 2, or Lust is skill 1, or Envy is our evade and skill 3. So we can spam Fluid Sac. That will keep her nice and healed. That is very nice. 4 other passes that we take from egos. Stagger defeating the person count. We're gonna take this because we are a Rupture ID after all, right? And we only have one choice for WoW, which is Everlasting. We're probably not gonna use it because we're not a Tremor unit, but between not having or having, let's go. Fluid Sac and Lasso should be all right. But one of them heal, the one apply Rupture. I think it's gonna be pretty nice. Gives haste as well, which is something we have. Very nice. So with that, we examine the ID. Not really a lot to talk about her. It is a season 1 ID. Not a lot of conditionals, not a lot of crazy passives like we get nowadays. Very simple. Now we have to build a team to support her. So we are a Poise Rupture. We are resistant to slash, but weak to blunt damage. We gain haste, we gain poison and rupture. Let's see how they can help us. Since we generate the sins for a Fluid Sac, we can spam Fluid Sac as necessary, which is a good AoE, and it's gonna save our ass more than a few times. I do believe I have it up tied to 4. So let's see how Yisang can help a Poise Rupture unit with haste. For Sanity Heal, we don't have anyone taking care of that. And since it is a solo run, we can't take the excellent middle brother Merceau, so Yisang, our therapist, will be probably very useful. Usually the ring point list is one of the best, you know, for SP healing, because it's on hit, if the target has any negative effect, and if the target has bleed, that's additional healing. Let's see if there's anything else. There is the base Sinner that offers us heal 10 SP if they lost SP. But this one can potentially heal more per hit. We also have the choice for going on the offensive by taking this, gain more poise count from skills. Welcome Hung Vu. I do believe this is your first time on stream. Welcome. My voice is working correctly, right? Right, gotta check those things. Audio is an issue always for me. We also have Rupture, and he only has 7 association to give support for Rupture, which is a Gluttony res that we do not have. The Pequod First Mate offers additional bleed from character with most poise, but we don't inflict bleed. Apologies, unfortunately. So we really only have the choice between Ring Pointless or Blade Lineage Sausu for additional poise or for SP healing. For now, we're gonna leave at SP healing, even though I do believe that Fluid Sac will be healing our SP every time we use it. Let me just check it out here. Attack and allies, all eyes. Yeah, pretty much that gives us our healing, SP healing that we need. Let's take the Blade Lineage Sausu for additional poise. As for Dawn, we are a true slash attacks with a pierce attack, so we gotta take care of that as well. On a second, pierce and slash. Gotta keep my notes here. Dawn can help us with Blade Lineage Sausu once again. This one provides us with more poise on our poise, which is pretty nice, but we don't generate the pride necessary to activate it, so we're gonna rely on ego gifts or cards. Other options that we would have is the She Association Self-Director, but I do believe that is a resonance. No, it's 10% more slash damage. That is 10% more damage on 2 of our attacks, including our very powerful skill tree. So I think that one is better than just more poise. Other options would be Hazel Pack Way Branch for the defense level down. Because it is a rupture, we are a rupture unit, so we can include defense level down, which is a little bit more damage on all of our attacks. Unfortunately, we do not generate gluttony, so we can't activate this without an ego gift. And considering that we are a solo team, we're going to take our starting ego gifts, something for healing and something for damage resistance and preventing a stagger. So we could always get the thing along the way, but I'd rather have the 10% more damage. Oh, damn it. I'll go with the Heisho Pack Way Branch for the extra damage. We also could take Lobotomy Eagle Lantern for some healing, because it heals every time they hit an enemy targets this unit. It only works on focus encounters. It's a little bit of extra healing, but we do have Fluid Sac to keep us topped off, so we won't have to worry about that. Moving on to Ryoshu. Ryoshu, you do not possess very good rupture support, if I recall correctly. Ally with fast speed gains 2 haste next turn. We can become even faster if you want, which is always nice if you get something that gives us more damage based on speed difference. We have the Drifting Blade of Hongyuan, which gives 1 shield for every poison self, which allows us to, gain a little bit of, damage soak, but we also don't generate neither of these resources. We are going to be relying again on a ego gift to generate the resources we need for this. So I do like having shield, because it allows us to survive certain things that we wouldn't otherwise. So we are going to be taking the Drifting Blade instead of the other options. For Merso, how can you help a poise rupture fast character? We have the Sync West Association, which I do believe is more haste on a clash win, but it is a pride resonance we can't activate. We have the Dead Rabbits boss that gives us additional offense level down if the enemy has 3 rupture, but unfortunately it is a gluttony resonance, and so we cannot use. Blade Lineage Mentor or Kinsalt has more damage on critical hit using slash skills, which is a damage on top of our extra damage because it's a critical hit. That is a very strong option to take, unless there is something better out there. Let's see. Rose Penalty for Tremor, Burn, I think it's Charge or Rupture, right? Yeah, one ally with a slow speed inflicts +1 Rupture. I'd rather take the critical hit extra damage. Let's see what else we have here. What the Ring Falvist? What did you do again, brother? You allow your fast speed on hit and take 1 defense level down for every 2 times negative effect on target. Once max. We could defense level down max with his, actually. This is pretty nice, actually. We'll take this one. We generate lust, but we don't generate pride. Once again, we're gonna need a ego gift pronto to activate all of our passives here. For Honglu, I think the option is pretty clear and pretty clear cut here. It is going to be Ting Tang Gang Leader because of that extra damage. Unless, let's see, we are poised and we are rupture. Lord of Hongyuan does not help rupture very good. He doesn't have a good support passive. This is for bleed, burn, healing. I do believe this is charge barrier, if memory does not fail me. On ally with the slow speed, get 2 haste next turn. If you have 5+ charge count, combat state. It just makes you faster if you're if you're a charge unit. Got it. This is for bullet. This is for sinking. Memory does not fail me. Double tremor. This is once again for sanity heal. We're gonna take the Ting boss leader. Can't go wrong with him. I do apologize for the dog barking. There is nothing I can do about it. I could close the window and that would reduce the noise, but I'm not gonna get up right now. So enjoy the dogs. For our Heathcliff, we have the Sea Association South section, which offers a very good sizable damage bonus, but it's a Wrath Resonance, which we do not generate. For Rupture or for Poise, this is Clash, this is Charge, this is Sinking, this is Bullet Poise, this is Fanatic, this is Garbage, this is hitting against enemies that are weak to our damage type, extra pierce damage, more pierce damage on low health. I think this is Charge, I'm not entirely sure on that one. It's a Resonance against Charge. I do believe the Kurokumo Clan Wakashu is going to be our best bet here because of the extra 10 damage against enemies that use defense skills. You're going to build a middle thing? Yes, I do. I already have a middle thing, mind you. It's right here. It's my main XP Blunt excavation. Once the Ricardo drops, it's going to be even better. In any case, I do believe I have an achievement to do in the middle at some point. So I might have to do a rerun, especially once Ricardo comes out. So we'll see when that comes out. For Ishmael, once again, Poise, Rupture, and Haste. We have the Pequod Captain that gives us more Poise on our Poise, but it is a Pride Resonance. We can't use that. We have House of Spiders Middle Apprentice that provides us on a Envy Resonance, more Clash Power, and more damage with base skills, so that is pretty good. I think that's gonna be the winner here, honestly. She Association gives us more counter power. New Association, Molar Bolt works. Edgar Family Butter. Yep, it's going to be the House of Spiders for additional Clash. Rodion. What can Rodion help us? We are Poised, we are Rupture, and we are Haste. We do have the Deviate Association to apply additional Rupture potency or count. No, it's more Clash Power, and we do need Clash Power, but we are giving up the excellent... We are going to give up the excellent 20% extra damage. So more Clash Power or more damage. I am going for... I can only have 2 attacks that inflict Rupture, now that I think of it. Damage or Rupture. Damage or Clash Power. Damage or Clash Power. This unit has very poor clashing because it has no escalation, but we can replace her skills pretty easily. That's a pickle in it. I already have a unit giving us more damage, so I am going to go for the additional Clash Power. For him, we're going to be taking the Deviate again because this is giving him additional defense level down against enemies with Rupture, and we are already stacking defense level down on other IDs that are giving support. We're giving up the excellent Mariachi extra damage here as well, so we could get an additional 30% if we take a Mariachi and base Rhodia, but I'm going for defense level downs here, debuffs on the enemy with Ring Faust, Haitial Branch, Deviate Association, Clash Power. For Otis, I am inclined to take the G-Corp, specifically because it gives us random buffs, and they are very good random buffs, especially since we are solo. But we also have the UJAT here that gives us straight up 1 protection. But then again, it's a choice between guarantee 1 protection on a resonance or randomly gain attack, defense, or protection power up. So I'd rather have this one. It's a little slot machine in a bug format. Other choices here would be maybe the Sync Association that is the fastest speed is faster than the speed of all enemies, the fastest ally gain on Clash Power. Ooh, that's an additional Clash Power, but unfortunately it is a Pride Resonance that we do not have. Unfortunate. And for Gregor, I think we already know where this is going. We require the G-Corp Head Manager. Other options here would be, let's see. This doesn't help us, this doesn't help us. This is about a guy with low... decreases defense power down. to hit pirates for bullets. This is for sinking. This is for bleed. This is for burn. This is useless. This is for rupture tremor, I believe. Because one of the times that have tremor. Yeah, it's gotta be. Yep, it's going to be the G Corp manager, Corporal Gregor. That is our team for today. We are going to be using Faust as the main fighter for a solo run. Let's review quickly what our units here are going to give support to this poor creature from season 1. Blade Lineage Saosu Yiseng is giving us additional poise count for our skills. Poise count increasing the amount of times we can critically hit. Heisho Pack Dawn is giving us defense level down against enemies that have rupture. Defense level down again equating to more damage whenever you hit an enemy. Drifting Blade of Hongyuan Ryoshu is giving us shield based on our poise, and shield allows us to soak up some damage before actually taking damage. The Ring Fobis Student is giving us additional defense level down for every 2 types of negative effect on target. We only have 1 type of negative effect, but we are for sure going to get another as we progress in the dungeon. Gambler Honglu is extra damage. Kurokumo Clan Wakashu Heathcliff is giving us more damage against enemies with full health or if they use the defense skill. The House of Spiders Middle Apprentice Ishmael is giving us additional clash power and additional damage if we have an Envy Resonance rolling. Deviant Association Rhodia is giving us additional clash power with our skills that use Rupture, meaning our skill 1 and our skill 3. And Deviant Association Sinclair is giving us additional defense level down. We are defense level down stacking here. G Corp Head Manager Otis is giving us random buffs, while G Corp Manager Corporal Gregor is giving us healing on clash wins. I am incredibly tempted to change Rhodia to base Rhodia to increase our damage, because we are stacking debuffs on the enemy and having more damage on top of our damage would be incredibly nice. But 1 clash power for a unit that does not have very good clash power. Yeah, let's go with damage. Let's take Rhodia, change Rhodia to base Rhodia for that excellent more damage with heads coins. We could also change the Drifting Blade of Hongyuan to something else, I believe. We have Lobotomy Red Eyes that gives us a little bit of healing, but not that good, honestly. Yeah, I'm content with this team. All right, let's deploy. As stated before many times, let me just start here. For every combat node that we finish in today's dungeon, we are going to read a page from the Stranger for our currently read book. So every combat node counts every normal combat, and every time we enter a mystery node when we fight an abnormality, that also counts the combat node. So usually about 20 pages. My go time going to Shard Heathcliff, and then I'm all in on Otis. Good. Sorry, today's been a very weird day. I'm just hiccuping and sometimes something's going on today. In any case, for our starter buffs, we are going to be taking Max Starlight Guidance for Clash Power, because we need that. Favor of the Nebulae, normal. We're not going past 4 or 5, so it's necessary to keep our make sure we can clash without too many problems. For our starting gift, we are going to be focusing on Poise with Cigarette Holder, because that's extra power up. For our starting gifts here, we are going to be taking Lobotomy Pack, we are going to be taking Echoes of the Manor, and we are going to be taking the Blessing, the Ashen Constellation Blessing. Lobotomy Pack allows us to heal on hit, Manor-shaped Music Box prevents a stagger, and Ashen Constellation Blessing makes us a little bit more tankier. It's an investment of 270 Starlight, but for a solo run, I do believe those are necessary. Unless the skill, the ID we're using is incredibly busted, which isn't the case here. We are using a double OID. Very thirsty today. In any case, let's see. Right off the bat, we already have this. This is incredibly good, but Nest, Workshop, and Technology have a lot of blunt units. I don't want to go there. Other options would be Thunder Branch, which gives us more Rupture with Pendant. Or we could reroll, but it is a tier 3 gift right on the first floor, so we're gonna go with the Forgotten. Forgotten if I recall, they mostly have Pierce and Slash, and I do believe this is a very thematic pack for us to start, especially considering that we are playing as Yuri. I considered getting the, what's it called, Gregor to come along and play a little protection, like if Yuri dies, we have to restart, Gregor dying, it's okay, but I chose not to. So let's deploy Faust. There really isn't much about her kit to say, it's a Season 1 ID. So only thing you have to watch out for is, did we take damage last turn? If we did, our skill tree doesn't get a full power. Now, we can spam Fluid Sac, we just need to generate the resources first. And we need to be on the watch out for any gift that generate ego resources for us. In the meantime, we'll just enjoy ourselves now. We have nice, good 4 protection here. That's good. We already have poise up, so we get the power up from the cigarette holder. We have damage up. Very nice. Look at those old-ass animations. Look at her very, very comfortable hoodie to fighting in the street. I think it truly is the idea of all time. Yuri Faust, indeed. Since we took damage last turn, we are going to not go do a lot of damage here. And we don't have the healing from Gregory yet. But we do have the healing from Lobotomy, which is a little bit of something. Stagger, but we have the mana trip block that will protect us. I believe it protects us. Very nice. Now, I wonder what was going on through Dante's head that he projected the Yuri as Faust when he was looking in the mirror. It really goes for show that he really didn't know much about the sinners at the beginning, especially because like we had Kurokumo Ryoshu. Although I saw someone make some interesting artwork today, where you know how Lei Hang got his head blown up by Jashu? And you know how Yuri got her head decapitated by the apple? Someone made artwork of, they put Yuri's head on Lei Hang's body, and it was going to be like a villain of N-Corp, which is interesting in quotation marks, because I've seen a lot of artwork of Yuri Lei Hang. Also, I was thinking about as well. I talked about a lot how levels are used to, because Project Moon likes to weave narrative with gameplay, so a lot of the in-game things, in-game like levels and etc. are taken into consideration for the story as well. And I was thinking about, oh, perfect, we have our ego resource generation gift. Nice, as long as she doesn't fuck it up. Very good. Yeah, I was thinking about, you know how Kanto 6 had the Wild Hunt, right? But he was only level, he was low level. And I wonder what was the... This might be coping or just creating a theory, but hold on for a second. King Heathcliff has traveled along several realities hunting other Heathcliffs, that we know. But then we have Heathcliff like middle brother Heathcliff. Everybody's just scared, to be honest, but I don't think she's ridiculous at all since Yuri anyway. Yeah, but you forget that she's going to be with N-Corp and they can do like manipulation and stuff. In any case, King Heathcliff is strong, yes, he has traveled along the multitude of mirror worlds hunting other Heathcliffs. And well, and now we have ideas like Big Brother Heathcliff, right? How would King Heathcliff kill Big Brother Heathcliff? He's not built like that if you're using the Kanto 6 statistics as comparison. He wouldn't be able to put a dent on him. But there's two things here. First is the obvious one, where Erking Heathcliff does not need to physically overpower an ID. He does a psychological attack on them because he comes in and say, hey, because of us, me and you, Catherine will suffer forever. Do you see? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because of you and me, because there is Heathcliff on Catherine's life, she's you know, destined to suffer. So be best if I kill you now. Understand? I'm gonna keep doing this, I promise you. And that's how Erking Heathcliff catches most creatures, most other Heathcliffs. Hung you, my time for school, bye. Thank you for visiting, thank you for passing by. I stream every day at the same time, and all of these streams are on my YouTube channel if you wish to rewatch them. Anyway, continue on. Erking Heathcliff mostly psychologically attack other Heathcliffs, convincing them to lay down their lives so that he can execute them. Now, that is one reason how he will be able to kill much stronger Heathcliff. He is charismatic, he has the right thing to say, and he knows himself because he is himself. But then, if a identity, another Heathcliff, does not want to lay down his life and die, or is, you know, not full into the idea, how the fuck does... how the hell does Erking Heathcliff would kill that ID? Well, and then I got thinking about the theory. How did Erking Heathcliff came to be in the canto? How did he came to be? Well, the Emperor Temple. The Ring was doing experiments with the glass window, the glass mirror, whatever it's called, and they were doing it on random people they were kidnapping from the streets, you know, trying to mass produce them. And since they used the what's the name, analogy of dough, because everyone, they're like masses of dough that we are trying to bake here into something unique. What if the quality of the dough the person used for the experiment affected the quality of the outcome? Because the first person that was used to make Erking Heathcliff come was Linton's sister. And then the second time he came around, it was Linton himself, and Linton had a disease. He was coughing all the time, right? So that's my theory as to why Erking Heathcliff was low level in Canto 6. Now, you can call this coping, and I would accept it. It's a bit of coping here. But I think that's the sound theory. Because with Dante and the gang, we are progressively getting stronger because Dante is the one that controls the whole which ID we pull out and which one we apply on our sinners. But the experiments from the Ring, they are not doing the same. They are just taking random people out of the streets and trying to force something on them, which often fails. By the way, let me update the combat node here. Shoot. Let's see, Sharking Sword, that's another defense level down. I like it. We'll take it. We're gonna stack defense level down to the extreme here, brother. Against 2 charge barrier, if anything has skill against. What's the upgrade for this? Gains more charge barrier? Yes, we like charge barrier. We like being tanky. And enhancing this will just make it stronger for the 7 association, which we don't have any IDs of building, so can we upgrade this again? No, then let's just get the hell out of here, brother. Anyway, that's my theory as to why Erking Heathcliff was not as powerful as his aura, as his demeanor showed. And the fact that he can be brought back from a different also adds another layer of power to him that is not like tangible, as in he's not like a power, it's not something that he hits hard. It's raw, like you kill him, we can just bring him back again, much like a sinner for Dante. So I am assuming that the quality of the people used on the Ringed experiment does affect the quality of the ID that will bring forth. They will bring forth. But again, only a theory. We don't have any information about that. But it's a sound theory, I believe. After all, they went all the way to make the analogy for food again with dough. So if you have good top-notch qualities, you probably are going to have top-notch creatures coming out. The only problem is that obtaining such top-notch materials is difficult. Much like the ring is used to harvesting materials around backstreets for their art, so too they need to obtain high-quality individuals to be able to make high-quality IDs come forth. Ah, this is bullshit. Opportunity slash gains 3 coin power if we didn't take damage last turn, but we didn't take damage last turn. Our shoot took damage. His shoot power also shoot damage also counts. Oh, she doesn't have a block sprite. Are you checking that out? Usually when you have a block shield, the ID will do the block animation, but she doesn't have any block. Huh. She only has evade. Fantastic. Alright, she's doing good so far. No struggle on the first floor. I'm gonna write this all down later so I don't miss it, but I think that the sound theory as to why Erping Hitler wasn't as strong as it could be. He was literally inhabiting the body of a smoker. Why did I put those evades there? Simply because she gains more damage because of Kira Ishmael when we have an Envy Absolute Resonance. Very nice. Down as Endo. Isn't the lore for enemies being weaker to the distance of the mirror words? No, I do not believe it has anything to do with that. For Dante, specifically for Dante, it is the fact that as Dante learns more and gets more experience, we will grow. That's literally spelled out like in the first chapter. Like, we are growing in power the more Dante experiences the world. Because it's limited by the manager experience. Because further mirror words have nothing to do with that. All right, let's choose our upgrade here. And by the way, let's upgrade or update our combat node here. There we go. We're going to be taking Thunder Branch, which was the reason why we came here. And Pendant of Nostalgia, because it's more poise. And more poise means more damage for us. We are not going to Crab Hell, although this gift would be fucking amazing. But it is Crab Hell, and I don't want to go to Crab Hell. Needle and Tread. Or Mega Poise. And a healing gift as well. We can also use this because of Envy. We are going to Hell's Chicken. The fact that I produced food until we had basically had a Yuri reintroduced just here to basically the start. Yeah, but the April Fools aren't canon, so. What do we get here? Dancing Bongies. You know what? We're gonna alert it because we gain a powerful bleed gift. Yeah. Now we got bleed going on, which is very nice. If we were going by the theory that the further the mirror words are from reality, the weaker the IDs, Shishun Ishmael would be made out of a wet noodle. And we already did an episode with Shishun Ishmael, which is pretty strong. Not the strongest thing in the world, but pretty strong. Because how in the hell would Ishmael be the heir or related to a Chinese family in H Corp? Endo. Down as Endo. Hello, Douglas Canelli, how you doing? Welcome to our stream. We're doing a solo run today. Up to floor 5, but you know how it is. Our main goal here isn't extreme floors, just passing out the ID, doing a daily mirror dungeon, and then reading a book. And today I am not intoxicated by an entire liter of Cuba Libre, so my reading will actually be good. Ow.
옛날에 외부 강사로 뛰던 것이 생각나네.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
놈만 잡아줄까?
I love how many support paths we have going on when it activates.
아재, 그것은 그 짝에 갖다 써야지.
Our skill tree is really gonna start shining once we get the focus encounters where we can evade and not take damage.
뭐셔? 대가리에 총 맞았냐? 왜 늦자고?
지금은 두렵지 않아.
I missed the reading because of school. Not a problem. Two things. One, you can always rewatch the streams. They are saved on the YouTube channel. And second, once I'm done reading through the stranger, I am going to actually take the streams, cut them down, and get the nice little reading in one concise block so you can watch it later. I do need to make videos and get some more practice editing things. I do kind of regret that I did the reading of the first part of the book while somewhat intoxicated, and that might affect the quality. And there is also the fact that this room has no soundproofing at all, so there is some echo to my voice. I don't know how to solve that, actually. Or maybe I can just lower the volume of my system here, and I don't know. So it's going to be scuffed, but then again, skill, another quality is included in the strings. All right, look at her go.
지금은 두렵지 않아요. 두렵지 않아요. 두렵지 않아요.
If it's not, Lei Heng can only get us a secret boss, right? Imagine her fighting Lei Heng somehow. I got the guaranteed there's your ID for the season 1 ticket and I used it. I got Think Tank Gangliger Honglu. And passive for extra damage. So there's that. Alright, let's go to the secret pack here. Yeah, the very difficult choice between chicken or more chicken. I'll take chicken. Give me all your chicken. I'm so hungry. A burn gift, I'll take it. Yuri facing the horrors.
준비되었다면 쉽죠.
Full of chicken. All right, we can take Fury down because it activates on a Lust Resonance. We can take the Stabber here, which is good. And let's see if we can feel some gifts. We are Poise Rupture, so this is for burn, we don't use it. And this is for charge, although we can use charge. Anything I can enhance here before we move on? Not this, not this. This is more rupture, I suppose. Among Us are ready for next Thief ID. I almost have 3 tempo tickets, so I'm too ready for him. I would, if I were you, if you really want the ID, I would start getting your boxes, because I am someone that does not like gambling. I do not like uncertainty in some aspect, especially if I can't turn that uncertainty into guarantee. So if I can grind for something, I will most likely grind for something. Jesus Christ, you are fast. All right, let's see which one's gonna attack me first. That one, easy.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
As long as it doesn't get 5%. Yeah, there she got it. There's the 5% that we know and love, right? Losing sanity. Right, let's get a dodge going on here and a fluid sac right off.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Shout out again to Angelic Intelligence once again that taught me the trick about how using the arrow to know which attack coming first, so we can actually use our evade to evade literally everything. As long as you don't get 5%, that is. That's a big bleed. Oh yeah, I forgot the first attack for the first ego attack deals everything at bleed potency. Ooh. Rescue to do damage to an enemy. Oh my. All right. Let's clash. And since we didn't take damage last turn, this is gonna do big damage.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Look at that 11 coin power. Ain't that beautiful? Ain't that beautiful?
당연히 거시기 해야지. 그런 것이니?
어떻게 하나?
보면 뭘 써야 하는지. 그라제 그것은 그 짝에 갖다 써야지. 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아. 옛날에
All right. We have 4 slots in there, 5 attacks coming out. So we are going to be dodging one of them and dealing with the rest.
일대를 다 쓸어버렸던 놈이 있었지.
Gloom Resonance, activate.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
우리를 아주 박살내버렸시야. 화끈한
We
맛이
just update the. We almost didn't get any combat nodes on this this floor. That's crazy. We got K Corp 1,
느껴지지?
and now you will perish. For now, I am fully ready. And we could do a resonance. That would be add more damage. It has to be an absolute resonance, right? In the absolute resonance, indeed, for extra damage.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
One more clash power for me and more damage. I like it. One thing that's very fun about solo runs is the fact that you have the Library of Ruin and passive attribution working in a kind of a lopsided way, but it's still very fun to see in effect. All right, give me the gift. Let's see, we get this one and we get this one. Ooh boy, none of these are good for us. We'll take actually we can get this allies with Gloom Infinity attack skills do 20% more damage. That's actually pretty good. Floor 3, and we're burning through these real quickly. I thought it was gonna take longer. Huh. We're not going to crab hell. Fuck that. Give me a refresh. Use my flash. We are resistant to slash, and we do slash damage. Dizzying waves have none of these are very good. We do have Carmilla and the overused whetstone, but we can't use the overused whetstone. We do have Emerald Elytra and this for offense level down. I guess we're going significant envy then. Ooh, more mystery packs. I'll take them. The faster the better. Should I fight this one? It's extra tremor gift. You know what? No, I don't want to risk it. I have no need for those. Go carry some luggage, brother. Thank you for your stuff. That is Centipede over there. Centipede is easy. Oh my, a free level up. Chains, brother. Those are chains on you. Those are chains. Give me the level up now. Thank you. I love encountering him. Can't wait until they add the option to fighting for no reason. Aha, we're gonna go here because the focus encounter. And we thrive on focus encounters during a solo run. Very nice. I think one of the things that are holding back the Mirror Dungeon from being something of a truly great cut mode is the fact that the layouts of every floor are literally the same. You know, it's always left to right, choose one of 3 paths. There's no variation, there's no unique events, there's no like mini game that you can, you know, have to encounter. First attack is that one, got it. Can we win? Yes, we can. We took no damage last turn. And our clash is supreme. Our hustle is unmatched. I told you, my hustle is unmatched. Except, oh yeah, our hustle is unmatched. This Yuri is making out of this mirror dungeon. She's going to become real. Hold on. That was the first. That was the second. Got it. Very nice, very nice. I'm liking this. She's doing excellent. Or maybe I'm just getting really lucky. Because yesterday we had a hell of a time trying to get the with two good IDs,
자들도 생각이 있어.
even though one was quite suicidal.
갖다 내진 않았겠지.
I guess again I did went for unfocused encounters, and that's my bad. I always tend to just go for whatever has the highest reward, thinking it's going to be alright, because I'm so used to doing mirror dungeons back when I was grinding for stuff. Just take a full team of my favorite team and just crunch through everything with no regard for how things are gonna go.
아,
Do some minor damage to it, why won't you?
말 안 해도 알아서 잘하구만.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
우위를 아주 박살내버렸시야. 화끈한 맛이 아주 딱이야.
And it killed it. That wasn't supposed to kill it, but whatever. That defense level down was acting like beautifully. I love it. Alright, that clashed strongly against you.
되지? 말 안 해도 알아서 잘하구만.
We don't actually have to clash there, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have an absolute resonance for more clash power, so it's pretty much impossible for us to lose those clashes.
그러지. 그것은 그 짝에 갖다 써야지. 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
You can clearly tell that the voice actor was still getting used to doing the Faust. That's a bit of an awkward but kind of cute voice to make when they use opportunistic slash. Look at all those extra damage bonuses, man. Might be a good day to stop it. Yeah, just do the goat. Just explode in blood for me, will ya? And that's another combat node beaten. Bloodied and bruised. 6 pages of the stranger so far. Thank you for the standard battery. It's much appreciated. Another focused encounter. Let's
잘
go.
됐으면 좋겠네요.
Still have coffee. Nice. I would love some more coffee, yes. It's the Middle Brothers.
아까부터 드렁대니까 딱 사냥하기 좋은 상태야. 이제
Let me just confirm. Always confirm if the magic arrow is not lying to you. First clash is going to be that defense, followed by that attack. So if you target this attack, it should be the first absolute clash of the fight, and so every other attack that comes forth is going to be
지금은
dodged.
두렵지 않아요.
Nope. 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 Nope.
대가리에 총 맞았냐?
Right. Let's check again. That one's the first one. And what's the second one? That one. Got it. So we're gonna defend against that one, and we are going to do AoE damage with the first one, because we can't spam Fluid Sac as it generates the resources for it. Here comes the Smasher!
승리할 거예요.
Now, let me tell you what happened there. And this is the trick people use to speedrun the mirror dungeon with the thing killing Yusang. Do you remember, my friend, this thing here? Each turn, the first skill to deal damage to an enemy deal bonus fixed damage by half of the damage dealt. So if you do an AoE, everything that got hit by an AoE takes extra damage. So we literally just nuke him. And we're gonna do it again, just to show you how good that is. So first attack they're coming out is that one. All right, baby. And the next ones are going to be... And there we go, evade that one. And then after that, what's gonna be? That evade, the block, and then that attack. Got it. Thank you, Magical Arrow.
지금은
Here we
두렵지
go.
않아요.
The first attack to deal damage deals bonus half the damage to everything involved. This is an AoE, and the damage dealt was 400. Half of that to everyone, 220.
만들라고 했던 거지. 나하고 저기 사람 마시는 거야 마시고.
Ah, that is so funny. And we can just spam that because again, we generate the resources for that. And now we have enough slot to clash against everything, so we don't have to worry.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Ah, of course you use a different attack. Oh well. Tab, bonus damage, 40. There we go. So that's how they do it. Huh. I knew they were doing some fuckery to get the mega damage going on whenever they use the team killing Yisang Eagle, but I didn't expect it to be a singular gift from Papa Bongi's dungeon. Papa Bongi remained relevant to this day with those incredibly powerful Eagle gifts. It's fantastic. Right, finish them off.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
I feel like I unlocked a piece of knowledge that I wasn't privy to up to this point, despite how many mirror dungeons I did. That eagle is seriously powerful because I never considered using it on an AoE eagle. The more we learn, the more we learn. Well, let me update the combat nodes complete to 7. I wish I had a button to do that, like click plus one, but I don't. Man, imagine if I actually managed to save Yuri and she could work at the LCE. She would be right at home, wouldn't it be? So what status is Yuri Faust meant to be? She is Poison Rupture, believe it or not. Ooh, extra damage, I like it. More haste. She's Poison, Rupture, and Haste. As haste is technically a status effect, so don't diss on it. Let's get our poised boy going on. There we go. Get this because we don't use it, and this. Additional poise, please. Storm Tomb, very nice. Well, no, we don't use this one. This is for healing. This is for burn. Contaminating needle. All good on this department here. Let's enhance something then. Let's enhance Thunder Branch again because we like inflicting rupture. And let's enhance this because it gives us power up, offense level up, I mean. Very nice, very cool. On to the next stage. What am I going to be fighting here with the Gluttony, Lust, Weak Thing? It's this guy, not to be confused with that guy. I'm gonna dodge all your stupid stuff because I'm faster than you. Hold on, let me just confirm the magical arrow. First clash is that one. Alright, bring it on! Bring it on! Ah, he rolled higher. Oops. He resists the slash. The thing that irks me is the extra slash, so extra rupture. Alright. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop them all at once. Is there enough AoE to pop them all at once? No. Unfortunate. Do it. No, there is. What the hell I'm talking about? Half damage to everyone. Only one remains, the poisonous dimension. We can clash, and we can clash. We can probably kill it too, because the opportunistic slash is very powerful. With a little help of our friends, we can do anything. Let's see. Magical arrow, which is the first clash? That one. One more time, because I missed it. Alright, got it. Then that one, got it. Then we can clash against two of them. We are going to eat that counter, but unfortunately it is what it is. We can also nuke him with the fluid sack again. Again, we can spam this all day, all night. We do generate the resources for it, and if he has true body parts, their both parts are going to take damage that are going to increase the damage to do with contaminated needle. Half of that is extra damage. That's a full stagger. I'm really not used to using AoE Eagles with the needle because I didn't expect it to do so much damage to fully stagger it. That is fantastic. She's doing really well. Ah, go away. Goddamn bots on Twitch.
그라제 그것은 그 짝에 갖다 써야지. 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
I must go ahead and update this to 8 combat nodes complete because that thing is gonna die.
싸울 생각도 없는 놈한테 그대는 건 재미가 없는데.
And we have enough to clutch against everything, so that's very nice.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Stand. Eat the counter. Nope.
놀만치 노른 것 같은 게.
Very nice. We're getting really lucky with gifts here, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe that's Yuri's luck. She did work with Lobotomy Corporation, so she has a penchant for getting ego gifts. But then again, she was just a clerk and not a proper agent. And she gets a nice little endorphin kit out of it. Final power. That's bad. But we can counteract with Chart Disc. Floor 4, a normal seismic zone with the fox here, sinking the loot with the coin. I am going to visit the Fat Man. Because I like the Fat Man, the jolly Fat Man. We're going for the mystery pack up top. We get more left. What's up with you, Yuri? You're getting all the good shit today. This is one of the most blessed runs I had.
준비되었다면 쉽죠.
This is one of the most blessed runs that happened in a mirror. It's already level 71. All right. Which one's gonna attack me first? You are, boy? All right, you do you. Because I'm not gonna get touched.
딱 사냥하기 좋은 상태야. 이제
Nope, I don't want to get touched by you, you filthy. We're gonna dodge you.
왜 늦자고 없이 쪼개고 있을까?
We're gonna dodge this one, and we're gonna AoE your asses again, because again, we can spam fluid sac. And we have the needle, so that's a lot of damage. Slammer! 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 Blam jam! Death!
아, 놀랐네.
How about this? We do this again because we have no sanity lost from that.
그만 찰줄 알았으면 빨리 좀 하지 그랬냐?
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Ah, she rolled tails. Oh well.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Slam jam! Full stagger. Oh, except this guy. He's up next. He almost died from bleed alone, so let's mop them up. Oh, god damn, that is stronger than I imagined would be. This is opening up a new field of things in my mind that I never imagined. If an ID can sustain its own an ego with its own ego generation resources, you can spam that ego as many times as you want. And if it happens to be an AoE ego like Fluid Sac, together with the ego gift that deal fixed damage based on the damage dealt, like Scarlet Moth or the Needle and Tread, this is incredibly powerful. It's a pathway on my mind is opening up for ego spamming based runs, which I never considered. They're gonna go over here because I'm not a fool.
잘 되었으면 좋겠네요.
Never considered that. Now we do. The forbidden knowledge is being unlocked in my mind. Alright, am I faster than everyone? Yes, I am. That means we start off with Fluid Sac because we can't evade here, so it's an unfocused encounter, so we're gonna have to eat some damage, but we're gonna do damage first. Full death. This is beautiful. I'm starting to understand certain things about this game that I didn't know before. Oh, mama.
지금은 두렵지 않아요. 이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
magical.
그것은 극적에 갖다 써야지. 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
Yeah, no, do it again. Do it again. We literally can spam this as much as we want. As long as we get one fight in, that we use our skills, we
지금은
win.
두렵지 않아요. 이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
And because it heals us every time we use, we have no sanity loss from using it. Well, we have a little bit, but nothing that to worry about.
두렵진 않네요.
담배 떼차서 힘들 뻔했잖아.
지금은
만
두렵지
칠 줄
않아요.
알았으면 빨리 좀 하지 그랬냐?
두렵진 않네요. 두렵진 않네요.
Okay, we're only doing this insane damage because it's a combination of ego and a ego gift that we got. This is not exclusive to this ID. And still, this ID is doing pretty well, and we have to consider the merit of the fact that she does generate the resources to actually fuel the ego permanently. We're not going for glupo. I'm trying to save time here. I don't. Give me your booze. So thirsty. Actually, no, I can't even look at alcohol right now. After yesterday. Oh boy! Is she going to be the blessed one? Is she going to be the chosen one? Ah, I almost thought for a second we got it. Alright. Gluttony we don't use. We do have Pierce actually. Take it. That's more defense level down, and we do love a good defense level down here. This is to make enemies weaker. This is to apply burn on everyone, so we can get the effect of charred disc online. This is for more burn. This is for more poise. We should have updated this one, but whatever. That's awesome gifts. We don't have a lot of gifts that we don't use here. They're all pretty damn good, honestly. Yeah, let's keep going.
잘 되었으면 좋겠네요.
I'm going pretty smoothly, I'd say. Fat man, we're here, and we're finally going to fight.
맞았냐?
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Oh no! Ow. Ow. She is weak to blunt, that's right. Well, don't worry, we recovered from the stagger. That's why we have Echoes of the Manor. And now we're going to slap you silly, you goofy boy. Since you have true body parts, that attack is going to hit you twice and gonna do good damage.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Hopefully. And not as much as I expected to do. It's still double damage. I think he just healed all of it. Good.
싸울 준비는 끝났을까?
The first one is that one. We just evade it. And now we have opportunistic slashes going on. We can actually clash.
지금은
Here we
두렵지
go.
않아요.
And that nice 11 coin power. Alright, then the next turn he's going to use the... Alright, which attack goes first? We can clash against everything now. Cancel his evade and break that thing so you get drunk next turn. So that his attacks that have a shit ton of flash power will... Well, will be nerfed.
우리를 아주 박살내버렸시야. 화끈한 맛이 아주 딱이야.
두렵진 않아요.
아, 놀랐네.
So drunk. And now, this attack deals no damage.
이만 찰 줄 알았으면 빨리 좀 하지 그랬냐?
There we go. And the first one only. There we go. Put some evades in.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Yes, this is a hopeless clash. Yes, I clashed it on purpose because we are drunk and we take no damage, but he takes damage. But he removes all the stacks of tipsy when he does that.
그러지. 그것은 그 짝에 갖다 써야지. 아, 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
Look at this boy, look at him. You know what's going to happen now. More damage.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Ah, I didn't go first. I hate when he doesn't go first. Despite being the first one on the list.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
There's something nice about the simplicity of this idea that we don't have to worry about anything. Just is okay. Give me your drink.
준비되었다면
Give me your drink, fat boy. I'm so thirsty.
아, 한 대 피해도 되지? 말 안 해도.
Faust chugging that gigantic drink.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Exploded.
얼만치 너른 것 같은
That
게.
ego gift is incredibly overpowered. I have not realized how overpowered it was going to be because, again, I never considered it on an AoE. That is some power, baby, and I like it. And with this new forbidden knowledge in mind, I shall make horrible things to these mirror dungeons. All right, let's take Sun Shower and the Prestige card. Not. Ooh, we got Rusty Commemorative Coin as well. Wow, this dungeon is going incredibly fast. We are already at floor 5. Yeah, refresh. We're not fighting Rufo, hell no. And we're also not fighting Nocturnal Sweeping. Fuck that. In a single character? No way, Jose. The bull. We do have. Yeah, we can go to the bull. We can go fight the bull. We can dodge all his attacks, hopefully.
으쌰.
First attack is that one, and we will deal with it accordingly. Dodge.
두렵지 않아요.
좀 깨고 있을까?
Ooh, it rolls close. Oh no! Alright, we're good, we're good, we're good. We're gonna start dealing damage now.
이번에는 재미 좀 보는다.
See. We can get a little bit of a resonance going on here and heal up before. Which attack goes first? That one. Then second is going to be that one. Got it.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
AoE again. It gives us heal, prevents us from staggering. I love it. Double damage.
맞아. 그것은 그
And another
짝에
one
갖다
because of Rusty Commemorative
이
Coin.
전투는 승리할 거예요.
Oh, this one isn't going to be as good as the previous one. It's still pretty damn nice.
보시게 해야지.
Ah, that rolled higher than the 14.
쫙 보면 뭘 써야 하는지 딱 느낌이 오잖아.
Stagger, but we have the house, the manor, so we are good. We have yet another turn to go. Let's do another fluid stack against the first one.
이런 거시기 하면
We clash the second one. 1, 2, and the third one. Oh, what? Got it. Although it is, it is not very good right now, but I think we can. I believe in her. I have faith.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Double damage. Second use because of Rusty.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Come on, come on. Yeah, I told you I had faith in her. Very nice. And now we can clash against you, bull.
재미 좀 본다. 자들 더 생각이 있으면 허접한 것들을 갖다 내.
And you get another one of these, because screw you. Actually, we get this one right at the beginning, actually. because it does double damage. So why do I say double damage? He has right now 2 body parts, meaning that his attack is going to hit twice. And because it is hitting twice... Now, follow the logic with me here. Because this enemy has 2 body parts, it is 2 areas that we can hit when an AoE. The Needle and Tread deals bonus damage based on the damage. The first skill that deals damage is one here, by half. So since we're hitting multiple parts, that attack is going to do a lot more damage because it's hitting 2 things at the same time. So we slam jam 2 different parts, we take half of the total damage and reapply that same damage to both parts. Essentially, we're double damaging in an AoE. Well, as long as we're fighting a single guy. But then again, the magic arrow has betrayed me and didn't go my attack first. But we'll do it we'll do it better next time.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Second attack. Crush him.
승리할 거예요.
Thank you. Crushed under Faust's massive fluid sacks.
치어불고 들어가자. 고생되었다.
This Meteor Dungeon is being actually enjoyable, like last time, which I was having a hell of a time. That's 12 nodes. Now we have the choice between an unfocused encounter and an unfocused encounter. Let's go with the it's gonna be crabs. I bet it's going to be crabs. This is actually a rare encounter. What the hell? Well, it's so rare in fact that we're gonna crush it. I barely see those drones. They were like appeared in 1 fight or 2 back in Kanto 3. Crushed. Second use. A speedrun tactic is appearing here if I want to... Alright, here's a speedrun tactic for you, my friends. Take Yuri Faust, take Rusty Coin, take Fluid Sack, and take the Needle and Tread. And then just spam that.
욕심이 나긴 나빴어. 아, 놀랐네. 담배 펼쳐서 손댈 뻔했잖아. 이만 찰 줄 알았으면 빨리 좀 하지 그랬냐?
I actually want to see their animation. That's why I didn't use another Fluid Sack here. What did they even do? What did they even do?
강사로 뛰던 것이 생각나네.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
한 놈만 잡아주자겠어.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Wasn't that strong? Because again, Fluid Faust is pretty strong, but not the strongest AoE ego up there. Because again, it seems that like the strategy for speedrunning is using the thing killing you tank. Oh yeah, I was paralyzed to hell and back. That's why I didn't do no damage. Finish them up. Kill these pathetic drones.
한대 패도 돼? 말 안 해도 알아서 잘하구나.
두렵진 않네요.
그래, 그것은 진작에 갖다 써야지.
Very nice. 13 pages. And counting. This is just Library of Ruin all over again, because the more we slaughter, the more pages of a book we're going to read. Alright, let's take the mystery packs, because why the hell not? Wound Clarid, I'll take it. Not usable by me, but I can melt it into something better. Do need to go to the bathroom quite urgently, so hurry up.
준비되었다면 쉽죠.
Me Wound Clarid. And then second mystery pack, this guy. Gloomlust, Gloomsloth. Let's try to tell you the truth. And no one can do it besides her. And success! We can always count on out this, can't we? Very good, very nice. On to the penultimate node of this mirror dungeon. I expected this to be much harder than it was, but we got a blasted combo of ego gifts. Crabs! Crabs! I knew you would be back.
딱 사냥하기 좋은
Time to crush them crabs.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Crush!
아, 놀랐네. 몇 차서.
We're gonna do it again because hatred does not. Hatred is too small a word to properly convey how much I dislike these creatures.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
The crabs are here to get crushed on their massive fluid sacks.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Ooh, yeah. Of course one of them survived.
만들라고 했던 것이 이라고 저길 갈아 마시는 거였나 싶구만.
Not for long.
두렵지 않아요. 두렵지 않아요.
Welcome, Carmen. Welcome back.
놀만치 노른 것 같은
Our
게
crabs have been taken care of with extreme prejudice. Ooh,
고생이었다.
yeah. Probably gonna do this combo with Mariachi Sinclair if he has any egos that he can fuel with his skills. All right. Crown of Roses for Rupture. Reflection of a Certain Day. For more final power on our quite powerful skill tree. Honestly, I'm surprised. So yeah, I don't think we need anything else right now. This is the final floor. So let's just go without upgrading anything. We've been doing so far so good. So maybe we really don't need to maximize this build. Again, we got blessed, and this is a surprisingly strong ID. Not as strong as it deals a lot of damage. That's certainly the skill tree is. And I may have spoken too early. Because this boss is a gimmick fight, and solo characters are going to suffer here. But we're going to try anyway.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
And we already got a heavy start. Because if she takes a few hits of this, she's going to get freed, and then there's nothing we can do about it.
혹시 모른 게 한번 살려줄 수 있는지나
You know how I
물어보고
spoke too early about not maximizing the build? This is payment. This is suffering. This is my this is what I get.
딱 사냥하기
All right, which one goes first? You? All right.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Keep dodging. Keep dodging. So silent, so calm, right? Untouched.
대가리에 총 맞았냐? 왜 늦자고 없이
Right.
깨고 있어?
Yeah, we're using Superbia here, fuck it. First one is this one, got it. Second one. There we go. Ideal evade, indeed.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
We're getting out of the Goon Cave with this one, boys. The East End Goon Cave. Explosion.
놀랐네. 담배 떠차서 손댈 뻔했잖아. 이만치 할 줄 알았으면 빨리 좀 하지 그랬냐?
Keep dodging. All right. Untouched. So far, so good. We still don't have the resources for another AoE blast, but not a problem. We're gonna generate it as soon as we get to our own attack phase. Right now, we have to stay on defense mode. We're just like Yu-Gi-Oh. They're gonna start clashing actually. 1, 2, and then 3. Because they're trees.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
We're only able to do this, mind you, because we have evades. If it was any other character with a count or clashable guard, he would be screwed, because this is the gimmick boss, and every time we get hit by an attack, it applies a debuff that will get us to become a tree, and we already got hit. I think we needed 5 of these. I'm not sure. How much? 5 count.
이번에는 재미 좀 보는다.
Right. We have enough for another nuke blast here. So, Magic Arrow, don't betray me now. That one's the first one. Okay. And then there's gonna be that one. Next one, please. Next one, next one. That one. Got it. 2, 3, 4. There we go. We can clash this one.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Why did that one go first? Ah, whatever. We don't get our nuke out, which is unfortunate.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
One more time. Rusty coin. Doing wonders with our ego.
그 새끼들 만들라고 했던 것이 이라고 저걸 갈아 마시는 거였나 싶구만. 욕심이 나긴 났겠어.
Yeah, won't touch me, you fine boy. Very good, very nice. We don't have the resources again, but we are getting closer to our ideal number of slots. That one's the first one. Got it, boss. And then second one is going to be that one. And third one. Got it, boss. The rest can be clashed. And because we have a absolute resonance here, we gain another clash power and some extra damage. So go. Take half of that extra damage and bleed. It's so silent, it's so weird. I'm so used to hearing constant coin tossing and coin clashing that when it's this quiet, it's kind of disconcerting. Kind of concerning, sorry, not disconcerting. It's disconcerting as well. Alright, let's see what we can do here. So, first clash, second clash is that one. Third clash is gonna be the third one there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. He's attacking the tree right now. Right, because we're in the second stage. You know, we dodge the third attack because we can intercept it, and then we clash against the rest of it. Or we can nuke it. Nuke it.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Nuke it. Who would nuke it?
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
Pop. One more time. Oh no, we did kill someone, so Rusty Coin does not actually proc. Imagine getting bodied by Yuri of all people. The most skillful Faust there ever was. You're summoning your trees again, boy? I knew you were gonna do that. Unfortunately for you, I do believe we have more skill slots than you. So The tides of war have changed towards my favor now. And in other words, you are about to get creamed. Because we can actually fight now. Took a few turns, but here we are.
두렵진 않네요.
Look at her go. So far, so nice, so easy. Goodbye, Dongrang. You die now.
패야도 되지?
Get that tree first.
알아서 잘하구만.
지금은 두렵지 않아요.
Local fixer takes care of a distortion and an ego user.
두렵진 않네요.
That 11-point power is insane, man. Stab. Goodbye. That's a screenshot. I'm gonna review the footage later and just take a screenshot of her impaling Dongrang like that. All right, that was much easier and much faster than I anticipated. We only got 15 combat nodes, which is impressive. Usually we get 20. We're not gonna go any further than that, but
파우스트는 우수했어요.
very, very well done. Holy shit, look at that. All right, as promised now, I am going to read the book. So if you're only here for the gameplay, now's the time to leave. Because now we're gonna get literate. We're gonna get some literature in our blood. But first, I will go to the bathroom. Now, final review of Remnant Faust. She can fuel Fluid Sac, she can spam it, and she has dodges. Her skill tree rolls quite high for a Season 1 ID, and it's very, very nice. So, first, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then when I come back, it's 15 pages of this stranger. So if you excuse me, I will be right back. I'll just put Hin on the background here. Pop up, and get the book. Should be here, right here, and book reading window. There we go. I will be right back. Just give me a moment as I go to the bathroom, my friends, and then we'll get to the reading. Hello, old pet meme. How are you doing? I'll be right back. Alright, I am returned. Howdy. Alright, as promised, we shall now begin reading the fourth part of Merceau's book. We have 15 pages since we completed 15 combat notes today, meaning we are going to be stopping at page 38 this time around. And since today I'm not full of Cuba Libre in my blood, I'm actually going to do a decent reading of it, maybe. Right? So, get yourself comfortable, a snack, a drink, or anything. Put me on another monitor or minimize this window if you wish. I will begin the tale weaving now. I had a busy time in the office through the week. Raymond dropped in once to tell me he'd sent off the letter. I went to the pictures twice with Emmanuel, who doesn't always understand what's happening on the screen and asks me to explain. Yesterday was Saturday, and Marie came as we had arranged. She had a very pretty dress with a red and white stripes and leather sandals, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. One could see the outline of her firm little breasts, and her sun-tanned face was like a velvety brown flower. We took the bus and went to a beach. I know, some miles out of Algiers. Sorry, editor, cut that out. Sorry. One could see the outline of her firm little breast, and her sun-tanned face was like a velvety brown flower. We took the bus and went to a beach I know some miles out of Algiers. It's just a strip of sand with a true rocky spurs, with a line of rushes at the back, along the tide line. At 4 o'clock the sun wasn't too hot, but the water was pleasantly tepid, and small, languid ripples were creeping up the sand. Marie taught me a new game. The idea was, while one swam, to suck in the spray off the waves, and when one's mouth was full of foam, to lie on one's back and spout it out against the sky. It made a sort of frothy haze that melted into the air, or fell back into a warm shower on one's cheeks. But very soon my mouth was smarting with all the salt I'd drawn in. Then Marie came up and hugged me in the water, and pressed her mouth to mine. Her tongue cooled my lips, and we let the waves roll us about for a minute or two before swimming back to the beach. When we had finished dressing, Marie looked hard at me. Her eyes were sparkling. I kissed her. After that, neither of us spoke for quite a while. I pressed her to my side as we scrambled up the foreshore. Both of us were in a hurry to catch the bus, get back to my place, and tumble all to the bed. I had left my window open, and it was pleasant to feel the cool night air flowing over our sunburned bodies. Melissa Nisu, just know that I appear here to just leave again. Always nice to have you around. Anyway. Marie said she was free next morning, so I proposed she should have luncheon with me. She agreed, and I went down to buy some meat. On my way back, I heard a woman's voice in Raymond's room. A little later, old Salamano started grumbling at his dog, and presently there was a sound of boots and paws on the wooden stairs. Then, "Filthy brute, get on, you cur!" And the two of them went out into the street. I told Marie about the old man's habits, and it made her laugh. She was wearing one of my pajama suits and had the sleeves rolled up. When she laughed, I wanted her again. A moment later, she asked me if I loved her. I said that sort of question had no meaning, really, but I suppose I didn't. She looked sad for a bit, but then when we were getting our lunch ready, she brightened up and started laughing. And when she laughs, I always want to kiss her. It was just then that the row started in Raymond's room. First, we heard a woman saying something in a high-pitched voice. Then, Raymond bawling at her. "You let me down, you bitch! I will learn you to let me down!" There came some thuds, then a piercing scream. It made one's blood run cold, and in a moment there was a crowd of people on the landing. Marie and I went out to see. The woman was still screaming and Raymond still knocking her about. Marie said, "Wasn't it horrible?" I didn't answer anything. Then she asked me to go and fetch a policeman, but I told her I didn't like policemen. However, one turned up presently. The lodger on the second floor, a plumber, came up with him. When he banged on the door, the noise stopped inside the room. He knocked again, and after a moment, the woman started crying, and Raymond opened the door. He had a cigarette dangling from his underlip and a rather sickly smile. "Your name?" Raymond gave his name. "Take that cigarette out of your mouth when you're talking to me," the policeman said gruffly. Raymond hesitated, glanced at me, and kept the cigarette in his mouth. The policeman promptly swung his arm and gave him a good hard smack on the left cheek. The cigarette shot from his lip and dropped a yard away. Raymond made a wry face, but said nothing for a moment. Then, in a humble tone, he asked if he might picking up his cigarette. The officer said yes, and added, "But don't you forget next time that we don't stand for any nonsense, not from guys like you." Meanwhile, the girl went on sobbing and repeating, "He hit me! The coward! He's a pimp!" Excuse me, officer, Raymond put in, but is that in order, calling a man a pimp in the presence of witnesses? The policeman told him to shut his trap. Raymond then turned to the girl. "Don't you worry, my pet, we'll meet again." "That's enough," said the policeman, and told the girl to go away. Raymond was to stay in his room till summoned to the police station. "You ought to be ashamed of yourself," the policeman added. "Getting so tight you can't stand ready. Why, you're shaking all over." "I'm not tight," Raymond explained. "Only when I see you standing there and looking at me I can't help trembling. That's only natural." Then he closed the door. When we all went away, Marie and I finished getting our lunch ready, but she hadn't any appetite, and I ate nearly all. She left at 1, and then I had a nap. Toward there was a knock at my door, and Raymond came in. He sat down on the edge of my bed and for a minute or two said nothing. I asked him how it had gone off. He said it all had gone quite smoothly at first, as per program. Only then she'd slapped his face and he'd seen red, and started trashing her. As for what happened after that, he didn't tell me as I was there. "Well," I said, "you taught her a lesson, all right, and that's what you wanted, isn't it?" He agreed, and pointed out that whatever the police did, that wouldn't change the fact that she had her punishment. As for the police, he knew exactly how to handle them, but he'd like to know if I'd expected him to return the blow when the policeman hit him. I told him I hadn't expected anything whatsoever, and anyhow, I had no use for the police. Raymond seemed pleased and asked if I'd like to come out for a stroll with him. I got up from the bed and started brushing my hair. Then Raymond said that he really wanted it was for me to act as his witness. I told him I had no objection, only I didn't know what he expected me to say. "It's quite simple," he replied. You only got to tell then that the girl had let me down." So I agreed to be his witness. We went out together, and Raymond stood me a brandy in a cafe. Then we had a game of billiards. It was a close game, and I lost by only a few points. After that, he proposed going to a brothel, but I refused. I didn't feel like it. As we were walking slowly back, he told me how pleased he was at having paid out his mistress so satisfactorily. He made himself extremely amiable to me, and I quite enjoyed our walk. When we were nearly home, I saw old Salamando on the doorstep. He seemed very excited. I noticed that his dog wasn't with him. He was turning like a teetotum, looking in all directions, and sometimes peering into the darkness of the hall with his little bloodshot eyes. Then he muttered something to himself and started gazing up and down the street again. Raymond asked him what was wrong, but he didn't answer at once. Then I heard him grunt, "The bastard, the filthy cur!" When I asked him where his dog was, he scowled at me and snapped out, "Gone!" A moment later, all of a sudden, he lounged out into it. "I'd take him to the parade ground as usual. There was a fair on, and you could hardly move for the crowd. I stopped at one of the booths to look at the handcuffkin. Where I turned to go, the dog was gone. It's been meaning to get a smaller collar, but I never thought the brute could slip and get away like that." Raymond assured him the dog would find its way home, and told him stories of dogs that had traveled miles and miles to get back to their masters. But this seemed to make the old fellow even more worried than before. "Don't you understand? They'll do away with him, the police, I mean. It's not like anyone will take him and look after him. With all those scabs, he puts everybody up." I told him there was a pound at the police station, where stray dogs were taken. His dog was certain to be there, and he could get it back on payment of a small charge. He asked me how much the charge was, but there I couldn't help him. There he flew into a rage again. "It's likely I'd give money for a mutt like that? No damn fear, they can kill him for all I care." And he went on calling his dog the usual names. Raymond gave a laugh and turned into the hall. I followed him upstairs, and we parted on the landing. A minute or two later, I heard Salamanda's footsteps and a knock on my door. When I opened it, he halted for a moment in the doorway. Excuse me, I hope I'm not disturbing you." I asked him, but he shook his head. He was staring at his toe caps, and the gnarled old hands were trembling. Without meeting my eyes, he started talking. "They won't really take him from me, will they, Monsieur Misso? Surely they wouldn't do a thing like that. If they do, I don't know what would become of me." I told him that, so far as I knew, they kept stray dogs in the pound for 3 days, waiting for their owners to call for them. After that, they disposed of the dogs as they thought fit. He stared at me in silence for a moment, then said, "Good evening." After that, I heard him pacing up and down his room for quite a while. Then his bed creaked. Through the wall, there came to me a little wheezing sound, and I guessed that he was weeping. For some reason, I don't know what, I began thinking of Mother. But I had to get up early next day, so I wasn't feeling hungry. I did without supper and went straight to bed. Part 5. Raymond rang me up at the office and he said that a friend of his, to whom he'd spoken about me, invited me to spend the next Sunday at his little seaside bungalow just outside of Algiers. I told him I'd have been delighted, only I had promised to spend Sunday with a girl. Raymond promptly replied that she could come too. In fact, his friend's wife would be very pleased not to be the only woman in a party of men. I'd have liked to hang up at once, as my employer doesn't approve of my using the office phone for private calls, but Raymond asked me to hold on. He had something else to tell me, and that was why he'd rung me up, though he could have waited until the evening to pass on the invitation. It's like this, he said. I've been shadowed all the morning by some Arabs, one of them's the brother of that girl I had the row with. If you see him hanging around the house when you come back, pass me the word. I promised to do so. Just then, my employer sent for me. For a moment, I felt uneasy, as I expected he was going to tell me to stick to my work and not waste time chattering with friends over the phone. However, it was nothing of the kind. He wanted to discuss a project he had in view. Though so far he'd come to no decision, it was to open a branch at Paris so as to be able to deal with the big companies on the spot, without postal delays, and he wanted to know if I'd like to post there. "You're a young man," he said, "and I'm pretty sure you would enjoy living in Paris, and of course you could travel about France for some months in the year." I told him I was quite prepared to go, but he really didn't care much one way or the other. He then asked me if a change of life, as he called it, didn't appeal to me, and I answered that one never changed his way of life. One life was as good as other, and my present one suited me quite well. At this, he looked rather hurt and told me that I always shilly-shallied and that I lacked ambition, a grave defect to his mind when one was in business. I returned to my work and I'd have preferred to not vex him, but I saw no reason for changing my life. By and large, it was an unpleasant one. As a student, I'd had plenty of ambition of the kind he meant, but when I had to drop my studies, I very soon realized all that was pretty futile. Mary came that evening and asked me if I'd marry her. I said I didn't mind. If she was keen on it, we'd get married. Then she asked me again if I loved her. I replied, much as before, that her question meant nothing or next to nothing, but I suppose I didn't. "If that's how you feel," she said, "why marry me?" I explained that I had no importance really, but it would give her pleasure. We could get married right away. I pointed out that anyhow, the suggestion came from her. As for me, I merely said yes. Then she remarked that marriage was a serious matter, to which I answered, no. She kept silent after that, staring me in a curious way. Then she asked, "Suppose another girl had asked you to marry her. I mean, a girl you liked in the same way as you like me. Would you have said yes to her too?" "Naturally." Then she said she wondered if she really loved me or not. I, of course, couldn't enlighten her as to that. And after another silence, she murmured something about me being a queer fellow. "And I dare say that's why I love you," she added. "But maybe that's why one day I'll come to hate you." To which I had nothing to say, so I said nothing. She thought for a bit, then started smiling and taking my arm, and repeated that she was in earnest. She really wanted to marry me. "All right," I answered. "We'll get married whenever you like." I then mentioned the proposal made by my employer, and Marie said she'd love to go to Paris. When I told her I'd lived in Paris for a while, she asked me what it was like. A dingy sort of town, to my mind, masses of pigeons and dark courtyards, and the people have washed out white faces. Then we went for a walk all the way across town by the main streets. The women were good lookers, and I asked Marie if she too noticed this. She said yes, and that she saw what I meant. After we said nothing for some minutes, however, after that, we said nothing for some minutes. However, as I didn't want her to leave me, I suggested we should dine together at Celeste's. She'd have loved to dine with me, as she said, only she was booked up for the evening. We were near my place, and I said, "Au revoir, then." She looked me in the eyes. "Don't you want to know what I'm doing this evening?" I did want to know, but I hadn't thought of asking her. I guess she was making a grievance of it. I must have looked embarrassed, for suddenly she started laughing and bent toward me, pouting her lips for a kiss. I went by myself to Celestis. When I had just started my diner, an odd-looking little woman came in and asked if she might sit at my table. Of course she might. She had the chubby face like a ripe apple, bright eyes, and moved in a curiously jerky way, as if we were on wires. After taking off her close-fitting jacket, she sat down and started studying the bill of fare with a sort of rapt attention. Then she called Celeste and gave her order, very fast but quite distinctly. One didn't lose a word. Okay, false alert. Needs these. While waiting for the hoof, whatever how that's pronounced, she opened her bag, took out a slip of paper and pencil, and added up the bill in advance. Diving into her bag again, she produced a purse and took from it the exact sum, plus a small tip, and placed it on the cloth in front of her. Now there's the sneeze I was looking for. God damn it. Just then, the waiter brought the hoof, whatever, which she proceeded to wolf down voraciously. While waiting for the next course, she produced another pencil, this time a blue one, from her bag, and the radio magazine for the coming week. Started making ticks against almost all the items of the daily programs. There were a dozen pages in the magazine, and she continued studying them closely through the meal. When I finished mine, she was still ticking off items with the same meticulous attention. Then she rose, put on her jacket again with the same abrupt robot-like gestures, and walked briskly out of the restaurant. Having nothing better to do, I followed her for a short distance, keeping on the curb of the pavement. She walked straight ahead, never swerving or looking back, and it was extraordinary how fast she covered the ground, considering her smallness. In fact, the pace was too much for me, and I soon lost sight of her and turned back homeward. For a moment, the little robot, as I thought of her, had much impressed me, but soon I forgot all about her. As I was turning in at my door, I ran into old Salamano. I asked him into my room, and he informed me that his dog was definitely lost. He'd been to the pound to inquire, but it wasn't there, and the staff told him it had probably been run over. When he asked them whether it was any use inquiring about it at the police station, they said the police had more important things to attend than keeping records of stray dogs run over in the streets. I suggested he should get another dog, but reasonably enough, he pointed out that he'd become used to this one, and it wouldn't be the same thing. I was seated on my bed with my legs up, and Salamano on a chair beside the table, facing me, his hands spread on his knees. He had kept on his battered felt hat and was mumbling away behind his draggled yellowish mustache. I found him rather boring, but I had nothing to do and didn't feel sleepy. So to keep the conversation going, I asked some questions about his dog, how long he had it, and so forth. He told me he had got it soon after his wife's death. He'd married rather late in life. When a young man, he wanted to go on the stage. During his military service, he'd often played in the regimental theatricals and acted rather well, so everybody said. However, finally, he had taken a job in the railway, and he didn't regret it, as now he had a small pension. He and his wife had never hit it off very well, but they gotten used to each other, and when she died, he felt lonely. One of his mates on the railway, whose bitch had just had pups, had offered him one, and he had taken it as companion. He'd had to feed it from the bottle at first, but as a dog's life is shorter than a man's, they'd grown old together, so to speak. He was a cantankerous brute, Salamano said. Now and then we had some proper septos, he and I, but he was a good mutt all the same. I said he looked well bred and that it evidently pleased the old man. Ah, but you should have seen before his illness, he said. He had a wonderful coat. In fact, that was his best point, really. I tried hard to cure him. Every mortal night after he got that skin disease, I rubbed an ointment in, but his real trouble was old age, and there was no curing that. Just then I yawned, and the old man said he'd better make a move. I told him he could stay, and that I was sorry about what had happened to his dog. He thanked me and mentioned that my mother had been very fond of his dog. He referred to her as your poor mother, and I was afraid I must be feeling her death terribly. When I said nothing, he added hastily, and with a rather embarrassed air, that some of the people in the street said nasty things about me because I'd sent my mother to the home, but he, of course, knew better. He knew how devoted to my mother I had always been. I answered, why, I still don't know. That it surprised me to learn I'd produced such a bad impression. As I couldn't afford to keep her here, it seemed the obvious thing to do to send her to a home. In any case, I added, for years she never had a word to say to me, and I could see she was moping, with no one to talk to. Yes, he said, and at home one makes friends anyhow. He got up, saying it was high time for him to be in bed, and added that life was going to be a bit of a problem for him under the new conditions. For the first time since I'd known him, he held out his hand to me, rather shyly, I thought, and I could feel the scales on his skin. Just as he was going out the door, he turned smiling a little and say, let's hope the dogs won't bark again tonight. I always think it's mine, I hear. Part 6. It was an effort waking up that Sunday morning. Marie had to jog my shoulders and shout my name. As we wanted to get into the water early, we didn't trouble about breakfast. My head was aching slightly and my first cigarette had a bitter taste. Marie told me I looked like a mourner at a funeral, and I certainly did feel very limp. She was wearing a white dress and had her hair loose. I told her she looked quite ravishing like that, and she laughed happily. On our way out, we banged on Raymond's door, and he shouted that he'd be with us in a jiffy. Went down to the street, and because of my being rather under the weather and our having kept the blind down in my room, the glare of the morning sun hit me in the eyes like a clenched fist. Marie, however, was almost dancing with delight and kept repeating, "What a heavenly day!" After a few minutes, I was feeling better and noticed that I was hungry. I mentioned this to Marie, but she paid no attention. She was carrying an oilcloth bag, which she had stowed our bathing kit and a towel. Presently, we heard Raymond shutting his door. He was wearing blue trousers, a short-sleeved white shirt, and a straw hat. I noticed that his forearms were rather hairy, but the skin was very white beneath. The straw hat made Marie giggle. Personally, I was rather put off by his getup. He seemed in high spirits and was whistling as he came down the stairs. He greeted me with, "Hello, old boy," and addressed Marie as Mademoiselle. On the previous evening, we had visited the police station, where I gave evidence for Raymond about the girls having been false to him, so they let him off with a warning. They didn't check my statement. After some talk on the doorstep, we decided to take the bus. The beach was within easy walking distance, but the sooner we got there, the better. Just as we were starting for the bus stop, Raymond plucked my sleeve and told me to look across the street. I saw some Arabs lounging against the tobacconist's window. They were staring at us silently. In the special way these people have, as if we're blocks of stone or dead trees, Raymond whispered that the second Arab from the left was his man, and I thought he looked rather worried. However, he assured me that all that was ancient history. Marie, who hadn't followed his remark, asked, "What is it?" I explained that those Arabs across the way had a grudge against Raymond. She insisted on our going at once. Then Raymond laughed and squared his shoulders. The young lady was quite right, he said. There was no point in hanging about here. Halfway to the bus stop, he glanced back over his shoulder and said the Arabs weren't following. I, too, looked back. They were exactly as before, gazing in the same vague way at the spot where we had been. When we were in the bus, Raymond, who now seemed quite at ease, kept making jokes to amuse Marie. I could see he was attracted by her, but she hardly had a word for him. Now and again, she would catch my eye and smile. We alighted just outside of Algiers. The beach is not far from the bus stop. One has only to cross a patch of highland, a sort of plateau, which overlooks the sea and shelves down steeply to the sands. The ground here was covered with yellowish pebbles and wild lilies that showed snow white against the blue of the sky, which had already the hard metallic glint it gets on very hot days. Marie amused herself swishing her bag against the flowers and sending the petals showering in all directions. Then we walked between two rows of little houses with wooden balconies and green or white palings. Some of them were half-hidden in clumps of tamarisk. Others rose naked from the stony plateau. Before we came to the end of it, the sea was in full view. It lay smooth as a mirror, and in the distance a big headland jutted out over its black reflection. Through the still air came the faint buzz of a motor engine, and we saw a fishing boat very far out, gliding almost imperceptibly across the dazzling smoothness. Marie picked some rock irises, going down the steep path leading to the sea. We saw some bathers already on the sand. Raymond's friend owned a small wooden bungalow at the near end of the beach. Its back rested against the cliffside, which the front stood on piles. which the water was already lapping at. Raymond introduced us to his friend, whose name was Mason. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and thick-set. His wife was a plump, cheerful little woman who spoke with a Paris accent. Mason. Let's go with Mason. It's probably Mason, but I'll say Mason. Mason promptly told us to make ourselves at home. He had gone out fishing, he said, first thing in the morning, and there would be fried fish for lunch. I congratulated him on his little bungalow, and he said he always spent his weekends and holidays here. With the missus, needless to say. He added. I glanced at her and noticed that she and Marie seemed to be getting on well together, laughing and chattering away. For the first time, perhaps, I seriously considered the possibility of my marrying her. Mason wanted to have a swing at once, but his wife and Raymond were disinclined to move, so only the three of us, Marie, Mason, and myself, went down to the beach. Marie promptly plunged in, but Mason and I waited for a bit. He was rather slow of speech and had, I noticed, a habit of saying "and what's more" between his phrases, even when the second added nothing really to the first. Talking of Marie, he said, "She's an awfully pretty girl, and what's more, charming." But I soon ceased paying attention to this trick of his. I was basking in the sunlight, which I noticed was making me feel much better. The sand was beginning to stoke up underfoot, and though I was eager for a dip, I postponed for a minute or two more. At last I said to Mason, "Shall we go in now?" and plunged. Mason walked in gingerly and only began to swim when he was out of his depth. He swam hand over hand and made slow headway, so I left him behind and caught up with Marie. The water was cold and I felt all the better for it. We swam a long way out, Marie and I, side by side, and it was a pleasant feeling how our movements matched hers and mine. Sorry. Editor, cut that out. We swam a long way out, Marie and I, side by side, and it was pleasant feeling of how our movements matched, hers and mine, and how we were both in the same mood, enjoying every moment. Once we were out in the open, we lay our backs, and as I gazed up at the sky, I could feel the sun drawing up the film of salt water over on my lips and cheeks. We saw Mason swim back to the beach and slump down on the sand under the sun. In the distance, he looked enormous, like a stranded whale. Then Marie proposed that we should swim tandem. She went ahead and I put my arms around her waist from behind, and while she drew me forward with her arm strokes, I kicked out behind to help us on. That sound of little splashes had been in my ears for so long that I began to feel I'd had enough of it. So I let go of Marie and swam back at an easy pace, taking long, deep breaths. When I made the beach, I stretched myself belly downward beside Mason, resting my face on the sand. I told him it was fine here, and he agreed. Presently Marie came back, and I raised my head to watch her approach. She was glistening with brine and holding her hair back. Then she lay down beside me, and what with the combined warmth of our bodies in the sun, I felt myself dropping off to sleep. After a while, Marie tugged my arm, and I said Mason had gone to his place. It must be near lunchtime. I rose at once, and I was feeling hungry, but Marie told me I hadn't kissed her once since the early morning. That was so... Though I wanted to several times. "Let's go into the water again," she said, and we ran into the sea and lay flat amongst the ripples for a moment. Then we swam a few strokes, and when we were almost out of our depth, she flung her arms around me and hugged me. I felt her legs twirling around mine, and my senses tingled. When we got back, Mason was on the steps of his bungalow, shouting to us to come. I told him I was ravenously hungry, and he promptly turned to his wife and said he'd taken quite a fancy to me. The bread was excellent, and I had my full share of the fish. Then came some steak and potato chips. None of us spoke while eating. Mason drank a lot of wine and kept refilling my glass the moment it was empty. But by the time coffee was handed around, I was feeling slightly muzzy, and I started smoking one cigarette after another. Mason, Raymond, and I discussed the plan of spending the whole of August on the beach together, sharing expenses. Suddenly Marie exclaimed, "I say, do you know the time? It's only 11:30. We were all surprised at that, and Mason remarked that we had a very early lunch, but lunch was a movable feast. You had it when you felt like it. This set Marie laughing. I don't know why. I suspect she drank a bit too much. Then Mason asked if I'd like to come with him for a stroll on the beach. My wife always has a nap after lunch, he said. Personally, I find it doesn't agree with me, and what I need is a short walk. I'm always telling her it's much better for the health, but of course she's entitled to her own opinion. Marie proposed to stay and help with the washing up. Me, Mason, Mason smiled and said that in that case, the first thing was to get the men out of the way. So we went out together, the three of us. The light was almost vertical and the glare from the water seared one's eyes. The beach was quite deserted now. One could hear a faint tinkle of knives and forks and crockery in the shacks and bungalows lining the foreshore. Heat was welling up from the rocks and one could hardly breathe. At first, Raymond and Mason talked of things and people I didn't know. I gathered that they been acquainted for some time and had even lived together for a while. We went down to the water's edge and walked along it. Now and then, a longer wave wet our canvas shoes. I wasn't thinking of anything, as all that sunlight beating down on my bare head made me feel half asleep. Just then, Raymond said something to Mason that I didn't quite catch. But at the same moment, I noticed two Arabs in blue dungarees a long way down the beach, coming in our direction. I gave Raymond a look and he nodded, saying, "That's him." We walked steadily on. Mason wondered how they managed to track us here. My impression was that they had seen us taking the bus and noticed Marie's oilcloth bathing bag, but I didn't say anything. Though the Arabs walked quite slowly, they were much nearer already. We didn't change our pace, but Raymond said, Listen, if there's a rough house, you Mason take on the second one. I'll tackle the fellow who's after me. And you Merceau stand by to help if another one comes up. I'll lay him out." I said, "Right," and Mason put his hands in his pockets. The sand was as hot as fire, and I could have sworn it was glowing red. The distance between us and the Arabs was steadily decreasing. When we were only a few steps away, the Arabs halted, and Mason and I slowed down while Raymond went straight up to his man. I couldn't hear what he said, but I saw the native lowering his head as if to butt him in the chest. Raymond lashed out promptly and shouted to Mason to come. Mason went up to the man he had been marking and struck him twice with all his might. The fellow fell flat into the water and stayed there for some seconds, with bubbles coming out up to the surface around his head. Meanwhile, Raymond had been slogging the other man, whose face was streaming with blood. He glanced at me over his shoulder and shouted, "Just you watch, I ain't finished with him yet." "Look out!" I cried. "He's got a knife!" I spoke too late. The man had gashed Raymond's arm with his mouth as well. Mason sprang forward. The other Arab got up from the water and placed himself behind the fellow with a knife. We didn't dare to move. The two natives backed away slowly, keeping us at bay with the knife and never taking their eyes off us. When they were at safe distance, they swung around and took to their heels. We stood stock still with the sunlight beating down on us. Blood was dripping from Raymond's wounded arm, which he was squeezing hard above the elbow. Mason remarked that there was a doctor who always spent his Sundays here, and Raymond said, "Good, let's go to him at once." He could hardly get the words out, as the blood from his other wound made bubbles in his mouth. Hello, Ainu, how you doing? Sorry. We each gave him an arm and helped him back to the bungalow. Once we were there, he told us the wounds weren't so very deep and he could walk to where the doctor was. Mary had got quite pale, and Madame Masson was in tears. Mason and Raymond went off to the doctor while I was left behind in the bungalow to explain matters to the women. I didn't much relish the task and soon dried up and started smoking, staring at the sea. Raymond came back at about 1:30, accompanied by Mason. He had his arms bandaged and a strip of sticking plaster on the corner of his mouth. The doctor had assured him there was nothing serious, but he was looking very glum. Mason tried to make him laugh, but without success. Presently, Raymond said he was going for a stroll on the beach, and I asked him where he would propose to go, and he mumbled something about wanting to take the air. We, Mason and I, then said we'd go with him, but he flew into a rage and told us to mind our own business. Mason said he must insist, seeing the state he was in. However, when he went out, I followed him. It was like a furnace outside, with the sunlight splintering into flakes of fire on the sand and sea. We walked for quite a while, and I had an idea that Raymond had a definite idea where he was going, but probably I was mistaken about this. At the end of the beach, we came to a small stream that had cut a channel in the sand, and after coming out from behind a biggish rock, there we found our two Arabs again, lying on the sand in their blue dungarees. They looked harmless enough, as if they didn't bear any malice, and neither made any move when we approached. The man who had flashed Raymond stared at him without speaking. The other man was blowing down a little reed and extracting from it 3 notes of the scale. which he played over and over again while we watched us from the corner of an eye. For a while, nobody moved. It was all sunlight and silent except for the tinkle of the string and those three little lonely sounds. Then Raymond put his hand on his revolver pocket, but the Arab still didn't move. I noticed the man playing on the reed had his big toes splayed out, almost at the right angles to his feet. Still keeping his eyes on his man, Raymond said to me, "Shall I plug him one?" I thought quickly. If I told him not to, considering the mood he was in, he might very well fly into a temper and use his gun. So I said the first thing that came into my head. He hasn't spoken to you yet, and would be a low-down trick to shoot him like that in cold blood. Again, for some moments, one heard nothing but the tinkle of the string and the flute notes weaving through the hot, still air. "Well," Raymond said at last, "if that's how you feel, I'd better say something insulting, and if he answers back, I'll lose off." "Right," I said, "only if he doesn't get out his knife, you've no business to fire." Raymond was beginning to fidget. The Arab with the reed went on playing, and both of them watched our movements. Listen, I said to Raymond. "You take on the fellow on the right and give me your revolver. If the other one starts making trouble or gets out his knife, I'll shoot." The sun glinted on Raymond's revolver as he handed it to me, but nobody made a move yet. It was just as if everything had closed in on us so that we couldn't steer. We could only watch each other, never lowering our eyes. The whole world seemed to have come to a standstill on this little strip of sand between the sunlight and the sea. The twofold silence of the reed and the string, and just then it crossed my mind that one might fire or not fire. It would come to absolutely the same thing. Then, all of a sudden, the Arabs vanished. They slipped like lizards under cover of the rock, so Raymond and I turned and walked back. It seemed happier and began talking about the bus to catch for our return. When we reached the bungalow, Raymond promptly went up to the wooden steps, but I halted on the bottom one. The light seemed thudding in my head, and I couldn't face the effort needed to go up the steps and make myself amiable to the women. But the heat was so great that it was just as bad as staying where I was, under that flood of blinding light falling from the sky. To stay or to make a move, it came to much the same. After a moment, I returned to the beach and started walking. There was the same red glare as far as the eye could reach, and small waves were lapping the hot sand in little flurried gasps. As I slowly walked towards the boulder at the end of the beach, I could feel my temples swelling under the impact of the light. It pressed itself on me, trying to check my progress, and each time I felt a hot blast strike my forehead. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fists in my trouser pockets and keyed up every nerve to fend off the sun and the dark befuddlement it was pouring into me. Whenever a blade of vivid light shot up from a bit of shell or broken glass lying on the sand, my jaw set hard. I wasn't going to be beaten. I walked steadily on. Then, a small black lump of rock came into view far down the beach. It was rimmed by a dazzling sheen of light and feathery spray, but I was thinking of the cold, clear stream behind it, and longing to hear again the tinkle of running water. Anything to be rid of the glare, the sight of women in tears, the strain and the effort, and to retrieve the pool of shadow by the rock and its cool silence. But when I came nearer, I saw that Raymond's Arab had returned. He was by himself this time, lying on his back, his hands behind his head, his face shaded by the rock while the sun beat on the rest of his body. One could see his dungarees steaming up in the heat. I was rather taken back. My impression had been that the incident was closed and I hadn't given a thought to it on my way here. On seeing me, the Arab raised himself a little and his hand went to his pocket. Naturally, I gripped Raymond's revolver in the pocket of my coat. Then the Arab let himself sink back again, but without taking his hand from his pocket. I was some distance off, at least 10 yards, and most of the time I saw him as a blurred dark from wobbling in the heat haze. Sometimes, however, I had glimpses of his eyes glowing between the half-closed lids. The sound of the wave was even lazier, feebler than at noon. But the light hadn't changed. It was pounding as fiercely as ever on the long stretch of sand that ended at the rock. For 2 hours the sun seemed to have no progress, becalmed in a sea of molten steel. Far out on the horizon, a steamer was passing. I could just make out the corner of an eye, the small black moving patch, while I kept my gaze fixed on the Arab. Arab. It struck me that all I had to do was to turn, walk away, and think no more about it. But the whole beach, pulsating with heat, was pressing on my back. I took some steps toward the stream. The Arab didn't move. After all, there was still some distance between us. Perhaps because of the shadow on his face, he seemed to be grinning at me. I waited. The heat was beginning to scorch my cheeks. Beads of sweat were gathering in my eyebrows. It was just the same sort of heat as at my mother's funeral, and I had the same disagreeable sensations, especially in my forehead, where all the veins seemed to be bursting through the skin. I couldn't stand it any longer and took another step forward. I knew it was a fool thing to do. I wouldn't get out of the sun by moving on a yard or so, but I took that step, just one step forward, and then the Arab drew his knife and held it toward me, athwart the sunlight. A shaft of light shot upward from the steel, and I felt as if a long, thin blade transfixed my forehead. At the same moment, all that sweat had accumulated in my eyebrows splashed down my eyelids, covering them with a warm film of moisture. Beneath a veil of brine and tears, my eyes were blinded. I was conscious only of the symbols of the sun clashing on my skull, and less distinctly on the keen blade of light flashing up from the knife, tearing my eyelashes and gouging into my eyeballs. Then everything began to reel before my eyes. A fiery gust came from the sea, while the sky cracked in two from end to end, and a great sheet of flame poured down through the rift. Every nerve in my body was a steel spring, and my grip closed on the revolver. The trigger gave, and the smooth underbelly of the butt jogged my palm. And so, with that crisp, whip-crack sound, it all began. I shook off my sweat and the clinging veil of light. I knew I'd shattered the balance of the day, the spacious calm of this beach on which I had been happy. But I fired 4 shots more into the inert body, on which they left no visible trace, and each successive shot was another loud, fateful rap on the door of my undoing. Ooh! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 15 promised pages from today's stream. Technically we had to read another one, but it's the start of part 2, so we're gonna stop here. Let me just... Look at him. Look at his face. Yeah, this is the face of a man to unload a revolver on a guy on the beach. In any case, with our mirror dungeon complete and our book reading also complete, that is it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching today's ID study and book reading. It was a very blessed mirror dungeon run where Yuri Faust did amazingly well, and it opened up to some knowledge I didn't have about egos. Besides playing this game for 2,000 hours, I would mostly focus on IDs rather than the egos, but I guess everyone has their own way of playing the game and focus on different aspects. In any case, if you enjoyed the stream, please recommend it to your friends, but if you didn't, recommend it to your enemies. If you really liked it and wish to give some support here to the channel, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, a follow on Twitch, all the good stuff. It helps like you wouldn't believe, and it keeps the algorithm pleased. With all that said, thank you once again, sweet kisses, and goodbye. Mwah.